Ever since Valve dropped the Steam Deck, it's like they cracked open Pandora's box. Now everyone wants a piece of the handheld gaming pie. Devices keep popping up with various configurations. With so many handhelds out there, it's getting kind of confusing. Do you want something premium to run AAA games on your couch? Or maybe you're just into low-spec side-scrollers and retro titles? Maybe you just want something tiny and pocketable to keep you busy during breaks. Whatever you're after, there's a handheld for you, but picking the right one is the tricky part. Let's break them down by category to determine what suits you best. First, we will start with the big dogs. These are the handhelds that can run AAA games smoothly and give you that couch gaming experience without needing a full console. With Steam Deck, Valve didn't just introduce PC gaming into a handheld form factor, they made Linux gaming better. The original Steam Deck is already an excellent handheld, but the OLED update makes it much better. Starting at around $549, the Steam Deck gives you a gorgeous OLED display, improved battery life, and better thermals. It runs on SteamOS, which is Linux-based, but you can install Windows if you want to. If you just want a handheld that works without stressing over specs and features, and you're on a tight budget, go with the Steam Deck or Steam Deck OLED. With a bit of tweaking, it can handle all AAA games. You really can't go wrong with a Steam Deck. On the other end, we have the ROG Ally X. This one's got that Ryzen Z1 Extreme chip and a 1080p 120Hz display, and one of the biggest 80 watt-hour batteries. The price is definitely on the higher side, but the Ally X can handle most AAA games better than other handhelds in its class. Next up, the Legion Go, easily one of the most unique handhelds out right now. It's known for its massive 8.8-inch display and detachable controllers, giving off strong Switch vibes but with actual PC firepower underneath. Personally, what stands out the most in the Legion Go is the display. It's bigger and sharper than what you get on something like the Steam Deck or Ally X. It can run most AAA titles fine, especially when plugged in. That said, the bigger screen comes at a cost. Battery life suffers under heavy gaming loads. You're lucky to get a couple of hours. Also, the size is great for bigger hands, but the button layout, especially the back buttons and Start Select, can lead to accidental presses. The upcoming Legion Go 2 is expected to fix a lot of that with better thermals, battery life, and overall system stability. So if you are planning on buying the Legion Go, I'll recommend waiting for the Go 2 and see what improvement it brings. But if you're looking for something more pocketable, mid-tier, and perfect for indie games, retro classics, and side-scrollers, there are some great Android handhelds worth checking out. Let's start with the Retroid Pocket 5. This little handheld is easily one of the best bang-for-buck options out there. It's compact enough to slip into most jeans or hoodie pockets, measuring around 6 inches wide and weighing just under 250 grams, making it perfect for on-the-go gaming or quick play sessions anywhere. The Retroid Pocket 5 is powered by the Snapdragon 865, paired with up to 6 GB RAM and 128 GB of internal storage, plus a microSD slot for expansion. The 5.5-inch 1080p AMOLED screen is bright and crisp. The touchscreen is responsive. Controls are surprisingly comfortable given the size. Clicky face buttons, analog sticks with decent travel, and stacked shoulder buttons make it easy to handle everything from Game Boy Advance to GameCube. Not only that, Retroid Pocket 5 can run some low-spec Windows games with Winlator. The 5000 mAh battery in it gives you around 5 to 6 hours of gameplay, depending on what you're running, of course. The Odin 2 and Odin 2 Portal come in with a bit more power. These aren't just upgrades from the usual budget handhelds. They're flagship-tier Android gaming devices packed with serious performance, premium screens, and excellent build quality. The Odin 2 is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, a chip you'd usually see in high-end phones. That means buttery smooth emulation all the way up to PlayStation 2, GameCube, Wii, and even Nintendo Switch. You can even throw in Android native titles like Genshin Impact or Call of Duty Mobile at high settings without a hitch. The 6-inch 1080p LCD is crisp and sharp. The 8000 mAh battery, paired with 65-watt quick charge, will get you around 8 to 10 hours of gameplay and fast top-ups when needed. On top of that, with Odin 2, you get Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.3, a USB-C 3.1 port, micro HDMI, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. There's even active cooling with a rear vent to keep thermals in check during long sessions. It weighs around 420 grams, with dimensions of 225 by 98 by 17 millimeters. For most people, Retroid Pocket 5 and Odin 2 will be more than enough, but if budget isn't in your vocabulary, let me point you toward the Odin 2 Portal. It keeps the same internals as the regular Odin 2, but steps things up in the display and design department. You get a stunning 7-inch OLED panel with full HD resolution, 120Hz refresh rate, up to 800 nits of brightness. It's one of the best screens you'll find on any retro handheld right now. Because of the larger screen, battery life takes a slight hit, but the 8,000 mAh battery still holds up surprisingly well. Expect a few hours less than the regular Odin 2 under heavier loads, but it's still among the best in its class. If you're on a tight budget and just want a compact handheld for emulation and retro gaming, the Retroid Pocket 5 is the way to go. It's affordable, pocketable, and gets the job done well. If you've got more to spend and want a balance of power and portability, the Odin 2 hits that sweet spot with top-tier performance. But if budget isn't a concern and you're chasing the best screen and premium feel, the Odin 2 portal stands at the top. Just keep in mind, it's a bit bulkier. Now, if you're just looking for a tiny handheld to pass the time during lunch breaks or while commuting and don't want to spend more than the cost of a single AAA game, these budget devices deliver without draining your wallet. Let's start with TrimUI Smart Pro. If you're looking for the absolute cheapest way to jump into handheld emulation, the TrimUI Smart Pro is about as budget-friendly as it gets. Often priced around $35 to $50 depending on the seller. The Smart Pro is capable of handling NES, CNES, Game Boy Advance, Genesis, and even some PlayStation 1 games. Don't expect a perfect performance across the board for PS1, but it runs many of the 2D titles and less demanding 3D games surprisingly well for its size. The screen is a 2.4-inch IPS panel, and while it's a bit smaller than the others in its class, it's still bright and colorful with decent viewing angles. The resolution is around 320 by 240, which matches well with retro content, so you're not stretching pixels awkwardly. As for storage, TrimUI Smart Pro has a small 8 GB, but you'll be using a micro SD card for your game library. Battery life clocks in around 4 to 5 hours, and it charges via USB-C. It also has Wi-Fi built in, which is kind of rare for devices at this price point. That lets you do some light OTA updates, retro achievements, and in some cases even sync save states to the cloud if you're running the right custom firmware. Oh, and yes, there's Bluetooth too, though its functionality depends on the firmware you're running. Now, if you like what the Smart Pro offers but want something that feels a little more substantial, the TrimUI Brick is the next step up. It still keeps that ultra-portable, pocketable form factor, but now you've got a more comfortable grip. A larger 3.2-inch IPS screen with a 1024 by 768 resolution, and front-firing stereo speakers for way better audio. The TrimUI Brick runs on the same internals as the TrimUI Smart Pro. That means emulation performance is very similar to Smart Pro. But what helps is that higher resolution display. It's a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is a perfect match for most retro consoles. It ships with 8 GB of onboard storage and is expandable up to 1 TB. That's more than anyone would need. The TrimUI Brick packs a 3,000 mAh battery, giving you around 5 to 6 hours of gameplay depending on your settings and brightness. That's a slight bump over the Smart Pro and good enough for commuting, long lunch breaks, or just chilling on the couch. And yes, it still charges over USB-C, which is becoming standard, even for these tiny handhelds. The TrimUI Brick also has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Physically, the Brick feels great in hand, but for larger hands, it may feel uncomfortable. The buttons are spaced out better than the Smart Pro, making it more comfortable for longer sessions. The D-pad is clicky but responsive, and the face buttons don't feel mushy. It's slightly thicker than the Smart Pro, but still easy to pocket, and only weighs around 159 grams. Go for the TrimUI Brick if you want something ultra-portable, retro-focused, cheap, and with no fuss. Go for the TrimUI Smart Pro if you want a more modern, comfortable handheld that can handle stick-heavy titles and longer sessions.